Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to automate your emails using um, Zapier, Gmail, and then Google Forms. So when you create a Google form and someone fills that form, an email is automatically sent to the respondent. You don't have to send the email individually to each person who fills the form. But then we are going to automate it in such a way that once the person fills the form, the person gets an email. As simple as that. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. So I'm going to open my browser and then we create the Google form first. So let's go to Google form and create our form first. So I'm signing into my Google form and we are starting from a blank form. So this is our blank form. If you don't know or you haven't used Google form before, this is how the interface looks like. It's blank unless we add a title and questions and all that. So I've generated some questions in ChatGPT. So this is a simple form I've generated over here. I have a title and then the questions over here. So let's fill in the form and then do the necessary settings. Okay. So with this full name, the response you're expecting from the user or the respondent should be a short answer. So you can realize that even ChatGPT has given you an indication over here that the response for this question should be a short answer. So now creating the form, make sure that you select short answer over here, or sometimes to Google form automatically selects the input for you. Okay. This form we don't have any description for it, so we just leave the description as it is. And we have already set the title. So let's go on and make this question required bottom over here so that the respondent will be forced to answer that question to move on to the next question or the next page, or to be able to submit the form. So let's move to the next question. So this kind of question, the inputs we need to set should be multiple choice. So multiple choice allows the user to choose only one answer. So with the first option, we paste the answer over there and then add the next option as well. So we make this one also required. Then we move on to the next question. So this is also a multiple choice question because it says, what time do you prefer to study? You can only select one answer. You can't select more than one. So to make that possible, we need to implement the multiple choice input method. It has been selected for me already, so I just have to input my answers over there. So Google with its intelligence has suggested the time is for me, so I just click on add all to add all of them. let me see. Yeah, we have 9 over here, so let's add the last one. Yeah, so we are done. There is one last question, but it's okay. So we are done with our form. Now let's preview it and see how it looks. So this is it. If I send this link to a respondent, this is how the respondent will see it. So the asterisk indicates that it's a required question. Yeah. So let's go back to our form. Yeah, so let's make a setting over here. We want to make sure that when someone is about to fill our form, the person must allow us to capture the person's email. Okay, so even though if you don't enter your email, the form will still capture your email. So let's go to settings and then come to responses, and you see collect email addresses. So it has been set to do not collect. So we change this to verified. So when you're about to fill the form, you see a checkbox that will allow you to check it so that the form can capture your email. So we are done with our form. Then let's publish it. Publish. So our form has been published, as you can see over here. We can copy this responder link and send it to anyone that you want him or her to fill the form. So our form is live now. We can copy the link and send it to anyone to fill. So we have created our form. That is the first part of the job. The whole idea is to automate our Google form, our emails using Zapier. So we've created our form already. Now let's go to Zapier and then connect our Google form to our Gmail. Okay, so that is the first part. Let's move to the second part. Yeah, so now we are moving on to the second part of our video. So over here we log into Zapier to do our automation. So let's sign up over here. So this is basically the interface of Zapier. Okay, I'm using the basic version, and the basic version can even do a lot. So over here we have an AI over here, Copilot, that can help us automate our task. But then for now, we want to do the automation manually. Okay, so after that, then we do the use the AI to do the automation. So at the far left over here, you can see create, home, assets, discover, and a whole lot of features down there. Now our own is to automate our task, so we need to create a Zap. Okay, in order to create a Zap, just click on the plus at the top over here, and you see Zaps, tables, forms, canvas. We are interested in Zap, so let's just select Zap and go. So on our canvas at the top over here, you can see our AI, which we will not be using now, and we can see our trigger and then an action over here. So trigger over here lets you select an app. That's when an action is being triggered, or when an event is being triggered, what should be the action. So that is the trigger and the action. So the trigger, the app that you want your respondents, or you want to automate, where you want the automation to start from. So we want the automation to start from filling the form. So that will be our trigger. And then action over here. After filling the form, what should happen? So as in our action, that is where we put our Gmail. So we want the form to start from our Google form. So we select trigger over here, and then select from apps, from the apps, the where we want our automation to start from. So you can see that Zapier can connect to over 7,000 apps. That is a lot. Yeah, and within the free version, you can connect all these applications over here. So we are interested in Google Forms, so let's just select our form and move on. So our form has been selected. Now at the far left over here, you see this box. So we are coming to configure our form over here. So app, you see that Google Form has been selected. And what should be the trigger action or trigger events? So let's click on that and then select trigger event. So when there is a new form response, or when there is a new or an updated form response, so when someone fills a form, this automation should be triggered. Or when someone updates the form. So this actually depends on how you create your form. Some forms, after filling, you can't update it again. Okay, but if you make it flexible that even after filling, people can update it, then you can select the second one. But then we are interested in the first one, so we just go with the first one. So a new form response will trigger this automation. Now, which account? My account has been selected already, so I'll just move on with this. This is the account I used to create the form, so I'll just move on with that. And then at the configuration tab, you see form over here. So you realize that there has been a lot of forms in your Google form. You created a lot of forms, and we don't want to automate, or we want to automate only one that when users fill, then they get an email response. So we select that form from our Google Forms. So when it selects over here, Zapier fetches all the forms from your Google Form because of the email you entered. So let's select the form name over here. This the form we just created, the student study habit survey. So we select that one. Then we continue. So it says test trigger. So let's click on our test trigger, and then a form response. So let's just continue. So to continue over here, we'll let you select the next app that should be connected to. So where you want to connect it to Gmail, so we select our Gmail over here. So you see that Google Form has been checked. That means we are done configuring that one, and it has been connected to Gmail over here. So we are now coming to configure the Gmail. So yeah, Gmail has been selected over here. An action event. What action should happen when someone fills a form? So when someone fills a form, we want Gmail to actually send an email. So it will create and then send an email. So select that one. Which account should send the email? This account. So we continue. Then we configure. To who should the letter the email go to? So we click on the plus, and then you see the Copilot has given us some suggested responses over here. So we want the email to go to the respondent filling the form. Okay, so you see respondent email address in the form or full name, but then we want to use the respondent email. Okay, because we configure the form in a way that before you fill, you must check the box that says this email will be recorded. Yeah. So we want to send the email to that email the respondent used to fill the form. Then CC is not really needed over here. So from where is the email coming from? So we select the email, where the email is coming from, or the accounts that we are sending the email from. Then from name, if you want to include a name where you want the email to come from, and a name that you want to display it, when the email is being sent. So when I receive the email, maybe at the heading they'll write from marketing team, from HR department, from maybe creative team, from research team, or whatever. So whichever name you want to put it at the top part. So let's say I want the email to come from the human resource department. So we leave reply to as it is, and then the subject. So the subject of the email. So I have generated a dummy email in ChatGPT. So let's just go ahead and use that. So the subject is a thank you message. So we just copy this and then go right away and paste it. So subject, thank you for filling this email. Then the body, I've also generated the body, so I'll just copy it and then come and paste that at the body over here. Now the body, you want it to be a plain text, not HTML document. So as you can see, plain text has been selected for us. So the body type wants plain text, not HTML document with codes and all that. So paste body over here. So yeah, our body has been pasted over here for us. Thank you for participating in our study habit survey. So when anyone fills a form, this is the email that will be sent to the person. Okay, so at the signature value, that is not really needed now, and set this to true, then continue. So after texting, then we click on publish. So our automation has been published and is live now. So anyone who fills the form gets the email we configured in this automation over here. So this means that our Google form has been connected to our Gmail account. Now let's give our Zap a name over here. So we'll click on the Zap at the top and then choose rename. So let's just name it as study survey automation. So we are done with our automation over here. Now after we are done with our automation, let's test it to see if our automation is really working. So now we are done with the second part of the video. We are moving to the third part, that is testing our automation to see if it actually works. So now we are going to do that. I'm going to fill the form with a different email. So I'm going to copy the form link over here. So copy respondent link. I'll copy the link, and then I'll try to fill with a different email. Let's see how it works. Yeah, so this is the checkbox I was talking about. So when you check this, my email will be included in the response. So I'll have to type my name, let's say JJ, and then my email address jj@gmail.com. Or to get a better response, let me use the correct email. So kojo622@gmail.com. So how many hours do you study daily? 1 to 2 hours. What time do you prefer to study? I prefer in the mornings. So we are done with our form, so let's submit. So my response has been submitted. Now I need to check if I'll get an email. So together, let me move on to my email accounts and see if I'll actually get a response from the HR department. If we get an email, that means our automation has worked. If we don't get an email within 20 seconds, that means there is a problem with our automation. So let's just wait a while to see if we get an email. Yeah, so finally we have our email over here. So you can see from the Human Resource Department. So let's click on it and see what it says. So it says, "Hi, thank you for participating in our study habit survey. Your response is very valuable and helps us understand students." Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. So you have gotten the email. That means our automation is live and it's working. So anyone who fills the form will get this exact message from the Human Resource Department. So this is basically how automation works with Zapier. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and then share.